We have been talking about the nature of real self. What exactly is real self? So, in meditation practice, on a given day, we feel we are so happy. I succeeded in meditation. How do you know that? So, the real success is that you have discovered the real self, and now it has become an irreversible process. What is irreversible? That now, wherever you go, internally, you know you are not a John, you are real self. You are not a Mead, you are real self. You are not a Anne, you are real self. That is why we say this real self is the pure existence. It is not affected by any karma, means any action. It doesn't care for any fruits of an action. So, this is very important. So, when we say that real self, the journey of self discovery is the highest of all. Now, what happens? You have practiced meditation, you liked it, maybe you have liked my talk, you liked the meditation, you did it, and then once you return from meditation, you are too much engaged in the activity outside. You forgot the meditation, you do not remain in peace. Then you claim that you have lot of things to do, and that is why you have a lot of stress. So you use the meditation as a pill. It may work, it will not work in the end. Mead was just saying that I have been doing the regular practice. I don't hear from the people that they are regular. Why? They don't have time even for themselves. 1 hour out of 24 hours. Now examine why they do not have a time. We all are fairly intelligent people. I'm not going there where the master says when you examine your intellect, it is the intellect or the mind or the ego. They all have the same understanding in Eastern wisdom. That puts you in delusion. And that delusion takes you away from meditation. It has nothing to do with teachers or the knowledge. Knowledge remains the same. So, regular practice with wisdom we have covered before. So, we are understanding what is this real self. So, here we can make the point. Do when you wake up, you remember your name, you don't forget, you remember your gender, you remember your profession, you remember your house. But I don't remember the experiences that we had in meditation. Why? Why? Why we do not continue to live into that state of the calmness and the peace which we experienced Our master says it is because of the delusion. What is delusion? Delusion takes place in the intellect. Let me explain you one more, it came to my mind. This intellect knows 100% while driving a car that highway, trees, other cars are not moving, and still the intellect perceives that it is moving. Everyone has this experience. When you drive a car on a highway, you see the skyscrapers, the houses, and the road, they are moving behind you. Don't you feel that? Don't you see that? You see that. It's a fact. So one master examines, he says, examine your intellect. Only one factor I'm saying you, that you see that the highways and the road are moving ahead when you are driving your car. Look at this intellect. It has already created a delusion. You know they do not move. So there are people who says, I'm fully busy. What is the meaning? They are always running. Their ego, their intellect makes them run, run, run. What for? For peace and happiness. The ultimate goal is the peace and happiness. Have you not been running until today? That is why you don't have time. What is the result? What is the result? Ask yourself. Don't be so serious. I have also to be serious. You see that? So the masters of the Eastern wisdom says that you have to examine every activity and see where you fall prey to the delusion and remove that delusion. So when we say there is a regular practice, one part of the practice that we covered before, couple of weeks before, what exactly is the practice? So exactly practice is that you do it every day, one, but with a wisdom, but with an understanding. What is that understanding? That whatever is moving in our life is not me. I cannot find the real self, my existence, that pure consciousness where there is a movement. It is behind it. Who makes me realize this movement? Same intellect. How? I have already given you an example. Roads are running. Are you understanding? When you drive a car, you find that the roads are running behind, all the buildings are going behind you, and you are running. Fact is that you are running. Do you see that? So when you are a doer and an enjoyer, when you experience that you are miserable, this is all comes from the same ego and the intellect. So our master says that this real self. Now go to the other side of it. What is the real self? It does not move. Take one example. Why it does not move? So we give a simile that this space doesn't move. You demolish a house, build a house. Demolish the house again, you build a highway. The space remains the same. The presence of the space makes us to build anything there. The presence of the real self keeps this body alive, mind active. So when we experience that real self. So now there are a couple of qualities that we covered in the last few weeks. That is the source of all the knowledge. Understand this point also. It says the existence is the source of all the knowledge. Many factors are associated with this. What does it mean? Source of all knowledge, all knowing. What do you mean by all knowing? Remote. This is matter. Can I say I am remote? No, I am not the remote. So, what I am not is inert. And what is the property of inertness? That this matter does not know itself and it does not know others. This matter does not know that I'm holding this remote in my hand. Anything that is matter. So we separate by examining where we are living. So we are living in a world, there are only two things. One thing is matter, other is consciousness. Consciousness. So I am conscious of myself. You see my personal experience. And I am also conscious of you all. So I know others, I know myself also. Only two things, matter and consciousness. So because I am conscious, I know myself, I also know others. That is our fair assessment, fair understanding, right? But the problem is the moment I say I know myself, who the hell I am, we don't question. So when you don't question, our ego says no worries. Ego inside, the John says, I am John. I'm Mead. I'm Charlie. I'm Girish. So then go further. Okay, who is this John? No, body. I am the body. I am the sense organs. You see the delusion part. No, what's a big deal? I am John and I am the body. How can you claim that you are the body? You say my car. Yes, we all have a car. Do you ever say it is me? Car is me? Do you ever say? Car belongs to you. You can say it is my car, my house. Do you say I am my house? Do you say I am my car? So wherever we use the my, the possessive case, I use this my body. I am the body. First, we are fairly intelligent people. So let us apply that intelligence. Am I the body? If I am the body, then I am the car, I am the phone, I am the house, which is not true. So there is a superimposition that subtle ego superimposes. For all practical purposes, I become the body. See another part of the delusion. You say someone you are crazy. To whom you have said crazy? You have addressed to that person's body, but he is not the body. How can you know that he or she is crazy? But how dare one can say that we are crazy? Are you getting it? If we do not understand that many layers of our delusion, we are bound to suffer from anxiety, duality, conflict, relationship problem, miseries, sorrow, insecurity. There is no way we can get out. It is only the meditation that helps us to get out of all the insecurities and fears, pain and the miseries. You cannot say intelligent fool. Similarly, if you practice meditation and still you claim you have insecurities and fear, that is the declaration made by not one master, but 3,000 masters in 3,000 texts for a period of 10,000 years. That tradition continues. Provided we are a seeker. If we are not a seeker, then nothing happens. Oh, we can attend one session, we can join it. Nothing happens. So that real self is only one reality that is pervading everywhere. It is the source of all the knowledge. So, what happens in meditation? The knowledge of the reality dawns in the intellect, and the intellect now realizes I am the real self 24 by 7. You have succeeded in meditation. I have already told you before that find out if I claim I am the teacher, so I learned from my master learned from his master. So, who is the ultimate master of this knowledge? Think of it. Who is the ultimate? Oh, maybe 10,000 years ago, there has to be a human being who is the ultimate master. No. Who is the master of that? So, our masters teach us that the ultimate master is the real self sitting deep inside your heart. That is the discovery of meditation. Oh, the real self is within me. Because I do not know, I am ignorant about that real self. So, so what? That is why I approach the masters of Eastern wisdom who represents my real self. Are you understanding that part? Who is representing my real self? Are you getting it? It comes when you repeat, when you listen to again, reflect on it. Oh, whatever this guy is speaking, it is my real self. It is the source of that knowledge. So, does the right arm hurt your left arm? No, because the teacher represents the real self. So you approach the master with the humility, keeping an understanding that I'm still not knowing what is real self. The very first thing. So, what is the meaning of approaching with the humility? No, I'm very humble to you. You have been very tough on me. That is not humility. I learned from my Himalayan master in the Himalayas what was his humility, what was his love for me. The moment I made a mistake, I was not regular. He said, "Get out of my monastery." If I say anything to you guys, you will say, "Hell with you." I learned in that is our masters. The more my master used to say, the more close you come to me, I will be tougher and tougher and tougher on you until you discover your nature. And it happened hundred of times. Get out. I said, okay, you have to follow the order. So I used to get out just outside the main gate of the monastery. I used to lie down. And the master has been so humble. He said, no, 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 call this guy. He used to wake up around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. Oh, no, no, no. I know he will not go anywhere. You have to contemplate how this journey begins. The simple goal was that he wanted to hammer my ego, which creates the delusion. That is why he told me to get out. Can I be a seeker with that attitude? Understand that is humility. One way, one example. It does not mean that every master has to hammer you and say you get out. That is one example. That is one example. So there is also another, uh, I would say, the concept. Concept is a product of knowledge. That is how we understand by the thinking process. So, because it is a journey to discover the real self, and the outer teacher is representing the real self of all the seekers, and this knowledge is the most highest of all the knowledges. If I know my real self, there is no problem. There are no miseries in the world. I know whenever the problem comes in the world, I can solve it. So, our masters, thousands of years, who had contemplated, reflected, they lived in the woods for years, not to become the best selling author, but to know what is ultimate existence. They never expected anything from the society. So, how it is possible to live in the same society without expecting anything? Come to the modern day society. In those days, there were monasteries. So, in that society at that time had to maintain the monastery. Those who are householders means those who are living a personal, professional, social life without asking, they have to maintain. That was a rule imposed on them. So, what happened? There used to be a king like the Buddha monastery was maintained by many kings during that period in India. So I'm a mixture of both. In India, I never asked anyone. So there were 5 or 6 people who used to maintain everything. Here, you don't ask in our country, oh, he doesn't know anything. Well, if you ask more, equivalent to the wisdom that I know, no, he's charging very much. Do you understand what I'm talking about? The humility. Ultimately, it comes to the humility. I'm receiving the knowledge that is going to bring an end to the suffering. But question is, I can only understand when I am a seeker. Otherwise, no. You may find many beer guys. Many beer guys. So ultimately, the couple of weeks in 5 or 6 sutras or formulas, we understand from the teachings of this master that real self can be designated as the word symbol Om. When I start opening up the subject of Om, you'll be surprised that Om represents the waking state, the dream state, the sleep state. There are 3 syllables, Om, and the fourth one is the Om. That Om is the real self. That Om represents our 3 bodies. That Om represents our 5 layers. So I'm not going there. So the Master Patanjali says that real self is designated as Om. Huh? You are designated as Charlie, as Mead, as Anne, and as John. So once I say John, there are many attributes come together. That is the meaning of John. That is the meaning of Charlie. What are the attributes? Go out and find out the attributes. Huh? Your gender, your age, your descent, huh? Your relationship, your kids, your siblings, everything. Huh? The moment I say John. So once we understand this, the moment I say, my mind should understand where deep inside the intellect, and you are repeating, so what happens? That helps the mind to go within. But it helps the mind to go within when we are a seeker. Who is a seeker? Many factors. One of them is that mind is fired up. Mind has only a single desire to know my real self. It means that mind is pure mind. Second part, that mind is capable to focus on the Om during the practice. Now it doesn't happen. So you see, our masters have been so humble. They say, no worries. We know the tools. So that is why we have done different practices of meditation on Om. So one of the ways we have done and we are going to do today, what is that? So the master says that any sound can be spoken, recited in 5 different ways. So when you chant this Om, like quick, fast, and loud, with a loud sound, but focus deep inside the forehead, it drops the impurity of the mind. Second, you take a deep breath. So when this is the second way of chanting, so what happens when you do it longer one, it helps the mind to gain focus. 1, to relax the brain. 2, to calm down the mind. 3, 4, it withdraws the mind inside. That is why we do it. Third, Om, 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 Om. So in that process, that recitation helps the mind to remain within without any effort. This is also for making a person seeker at the same time you are doing the practice. Fourth one, you are doing it mentally without moving the lips and the tongue, and you recognize that by saying Om, the mind remains within. It is not neither distracted nor falls into sleep. Remember, then only you are a seeker. Seeker always succeeds. Can I become a seeker in 1 hour? No. There are 9 qualifications to become a seeker. But I introduce those things in every session, directly or indirectly. And the 5th one is asking the mind to remain quiet, do nothing. You see that when you do nothing, you know your name is Charlie. You know your name is Anne. You know your name is me. You know it without any thought. Intellect knows it. So the 5th state is that when the intellect knows, yes, I am home. Now I am home. I am real self. Done. So you reach to that irreversible process. Now it will happen in 1 day. Just I will study like a fiction. No. It's a proper discipline that we have to follow to reach to that state. So let us start. So what happens, when I do the videos, the video is only the talk that I put it on the YouTube. Second part, that the speaker, and the speaker I have to pay a lot of